Every person you meet is carrying something invisible. A memory, a regret, a wound from the past. But the saddest thing is, most people don't even realize that their past is slowly destroying their present. There was once a young man named Aaron who lived in a small village hidden between mountains covered with fog and forests so quiet that even the wind sounded lonely. Every morning, the people of the village woke up to the beauty of nature, the sound of birds, and the golden sunlight touching the river that flowed beside the town. But Aaron never noticed any of it anymore. His eyes were always heavy, his mind always restless, and his heart carried a sadness that never seemed to leave him. He was only 26 years old, yet he walked like a man who had already lost his entire life. The strange thing about pain is that it does not always scream. Sometimes it becomes silent. It hides behind fake smiles, quiet behavior, and tired eyes. And Aaron had become a master at hiding his pain. Whenever people asked him if he was okay, he simply nodded and smiled softly. But deep inside, his mind was drowning in memories he could never escape from. Every night before sleeping, he replayed the same moments again and again like a punishment he could not stop giving himself. He remembered the people who left him, the dreams that failed, the opportunities he wasted, the words he wished he never said. And slowly, his past became heavier than his future. Years ago, Aaron was completely different. He was full of energy, ambition, and hope. He wanted to become an artist. He wanted to create paintings so beautiful that people would stop and feel emotions without a single word being spoken. He believed life was filled with endless possibilities. But life has a strange way of changing people. First, his father passed away unexpectedly. Aaron was young, and suddenly the responsibility of his family fell onto his shoulders. Then financial problems destroyed his dreams one by one. His friends slowly moved ahead in life while he remained stuck in the same place. And finally, the woman he loved the most left him without even saying goodbye. After that day, something inside Aaron quietly broke. At first, he told himself he would recover. He believed time would heal him. But instead of healing, he started feeding his pain every single day. He isolated himself from people. He stopped painting. He stopped laughing. His body was alive, but his spirit had become trapped inside old memories. Sometimes he would sit alone for hours staring at nothing while his mind replayed moments that no longer existed. He was physically living in the present, but emotionally, he was still living years behind. One cold evening, Aaron was walking near the forest outside the village. The sky was gray and dry leaves covered the ground beneath his feet. His mind was louder than ever. Regret after regret filled his thoughts until he felt suffocated by his own memories. He kept asking himself the same painful questions. What if I had tried harder? What if I had made different choices? What if I had not failed? These thoughts chased him every day like shadows that refused to leave him alone. As he continued walking, he noticed an old man sitting beside the river under a large tree. The old man looked calm in a way Aaron had never seen before. His white hair moved gently with the wind, and his eyes carried the kind of peace people spend their entire lives searching for. Beside him was a wooden stick and a small bag filled with stones. The old man looked at Aaron for a few seconds and then said softly, "You look tired." Aaron forced a weak smile. "I am fine." The old man shook his head slowly. "No. Your body is standing here, but your soul is somewhere far behind." Those words hit Aaron deeply because they were true. For a moment he stood there silently. Then something inside him finally collapsed. He sat beside the old man and began speaking. At first his voice was calm. But slowly years of pain poured out of him. He spoke about his father's death, his broken dreams, his loneliness, his failures, and the love he lost. He spoke about how every day felt empty and meaningless. And the more he spoke, the more exhausted he became, as if his soul had been carrying too much weight for too long. The old man listened quietly without interrupting him. When Aaron finally stopped talking, the old man picked up one of the stones from the bag beside him and handed it to Aaron. "Hold this," he said. Aaron looked confused but took the stone in his hand. "Now walk with me." The two began walking slowly beside the river. At first, the stone felt light. Aaron did not understand the point of this strange exercise. But after several minutes, his arm began hurting. The weight started becoming uncomfortable. Yet the old man kept walking silently. Minutes turned into nearly an hour, and now Aaron's entire arm felt heavy and numb. Finally, Aaron could not take it anymore. "Why are we doing this?" he asked with frustration. The old man looked at him calmly and replied, "Tell me, when did the stone become heavy?" Aaron frowned. "It was always the same weight." "Exactly," the old man said softly. "But the longer you carried it, the heavier it felt." Aaron became silent. Then the old man pointed toward the river and said, "Your past is the same. Pain is not what destroys people. Holding on to pain for too long destroys people. Regret, guilt, anger, sadness, these things become heavier the longer you carry them. And most people spend their entire lives carrying emotional stones they were never meant to keep." Those words entered Aaron's heart like light entering a dark room. The old man continued, "You think your suffering comes from what happened to you. But your real suffering comes from replaying it every single day inside your mind. The past no longer exists, Aaron. Yet you visit it every day. You reopen wounds that life was already trying to heal." Aaron looked down at the stone in his hand. Suddenly it felt different. Not because the stone changed, but because he finally understood what it represented. The old man stopped walking and pointed toward the flowing river. "Look at the water carefully," he said. "The river keeps moving forward. It does not stop for dead leaves. It does not cry over branches that fall into it. It keeps flowing because that is the nature of life. But humans," he paused for a moment, "humans keep collecting dead things inside their hearts." Aaron stared at the river silently as the sound of flowing water filled the air around them. For the first time in years he realized something painful. His life was not being destroyed by his past anymore. It was being destroyed by his attachment to the past. He had become addicted to old pain. His identity had become connected to suffering. Without realizing it, he had turned his wounds into a home. That night Aaron could not sleep. The old man's words echoed inside his mind again and again. He realized that every morning he woke up and immediately searched for sadness inside himself. Every day he carried guilt like a punishment. Every night he replayed memories that no longer existed. He had become both the prisoner and the prison. The next morning before sunrise, Aaron returned to the river. The old man was gone. There were no footprints, no bag of stones, nothing. Only the sound of the river flowing peacefully through the forest. Aaron stood there quietly for a long time. Then he picked up a large stone from the ground and held it tightly against his chest. Slowly he walked beside the river exactly as the old man had told him. Minutes passed. His breathing became heavier. His arms started shaking from the weight. And then, with tears in his eyes, he whispered softly, "I'm tired." For years he had been emotionally carrying things that were already gone. The love was gone. The failures were gone. The painful moments were gone. But he kept carrying them inside himself every single day. Finally, Aaron walked to the edge of the river and threw the stone into the water. The moment the stone disappeared beneath the surface, Aaron felt something strange inside his chest. Not happiness, not excitement, but relief. The kind of relief a person feels after putting down a burden they were never supposed to carry for this long. And in that moment, Aaron understood one of the deepest truths of life. You cannot begin a new chapter of your life if you keep rereading the old one. Days turned into weeks and weeks turned into months. Slowly Aaron began changing. He started painting again. He began noticing the beauty of the mornings. He spent more time with people instead of isolating himself. The memories still existed, but they no longer controlled him. Sometimes the pain returned at night, but now he understood something important. Healing does not mean forgetting. Healing means no longer allowing the past to control your present. One afternoon, a young boy from the village saw Aaron painting near the river and asked him, "How did you become peaceful again?" Aaron smiled softly and looked toward the flowing water. Then he replied, "I stopped carrying things that were already gone." The truth is, many people are suffering not because life is cruel, but because they refuse to let go of what no longer exists. They carry old failures, old heartbreaks, old guilt, and old pain everywhere they go. And slowly, the weight of yesterday steals the beauty of today. But life was never meant to be lived backward. The river only flows forward. And so should you.